Hello, welcome to Sideways. I'm walking through a cherry orchard. In every direction I can see nothing but trees and fields, no other people. That's what we're talking about this week. Something that I enjoy immensely, and perhaps you do too. Personal space.
How you doing? You good?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks.
You got a cup of tea, a cup of coffee on the go?
I had a cup of coffee, but I finished it.
Oh, that's all right. Sorry, I nearly spilt my tea then. I thought I'd I'll put it down a bit roughly and it splashed up.
Did you put it on top of the side of a pencil or something?
Well, it was on a cable. Yeah, a cable was tipping it slightly. Yeah. Not good.
It might have tipped all over your computer.
That would have been bad, wouldn't it? That would have put the end of this for a while, wouldn't it? Until I got a new one. Getting new computers.
There's suddenly been a blackout on the screen, and I wouldn't have known what would have happened.
Anyway, you were right. So I'm going to crack on with the old with my subject matter, really, or with the podcast generally.
Yeah, no, I'm fine, thanks. Nothing to complain about this morning.
Good work. So plenty on your gratitude list for this week. Have you got one sorted out yet before we get to that point?
I have thought of one, actually. Yeah.
Well done you.
Yeah. I've done my homework.
Excuse me. Anyway, what I wanted to talk to you about today was personal space.
Great.
Okay?
Good.
It came up because it was someone that used to come to groups and he used to hate sitting near people. So he'd sit slightly away from everyone. And it sort of reminded me that everyone's recovery journey is unique, and he had his own way of doing it. But I always found it fascinating with the explanations he gave.
Oh, good. Okay.
And I'll explore that later on. But it sparked my enthusiasm really to look at the whole concept of personal space further.
Great. Well, I'll be led by you on this one because it's not really something I think about very much.
It wasn't. I hadn't really until this chap. But this was some time ago. He used to come to groups, and it was always in the back of my mind. And, although I didn't put it on the list, it was always one that I thought, I don't know if I can make an episode out of it or not, but I can, and I have.
Well, we'll see, won't we?
Yes. Anyway, before we start, there's a headline that I quite like, just a little bit gruesome, but stick with me.
Okay. Is it about animals?
No.
Oh, good.
It's a man. He sneezed so hard that his colon fell out of his body whilst having breakfast. Okay. Now that sounds worse than it is, really, as it turned out. And this was in a restaurant in Florida, so it wasn't even at home. But it came out of a certain, because initially I thought perhaps it had come out of a certain place, but it came out of a surgical wound. In his stomach. The doctor had told him it was healed and it was all fine. He had taken the wrappings off. And, he sneezed and bang, out it came. A bit of a shock, apparently, especially to the other diners.
I don't know what a colon looks like.
No, I don't really.
I'm imagining it would put you off your sausages if you were eating sausages. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go and Google a picture of a colon now. But I mean, that's if your colon's going to come out, you don't want it happening in a restaurant, do you?
Nothing like that. I mean, I think it's a fear of a lot of people, isn't it? Of being ill in a restaurant.
Being ill. I thought you meant a lot of people have a fear of having their colon come out in a restaurant. If I had a client turn up and say, I've got a phobia, and I said, what is it? I'm worried that my colon's going to come out in a restaurant. I'll be like, well, that's a pretty niche one.
It is a niche one, and I suspect there isn't that many people in the world that suffer with that particular anxiety.
Yeah, but, I'm going to worry about it now whenever I'm in a restaurant. I hope my colon doesn't come out.
Well, I think sneezing in a restaurant, you try and do it as quietly as possible, don't you? If you have a cough or a sneeze.
It is an enjoyable experience, though, isn't it? Not your colon coming out, but having a sneeze. I mean, sneezing's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely. But again, you quell it somewhat then when you're in company, don't you? On your own, you can really get involved.
Well, when I say sneezing's enjoyable, I mean, it's not enjoyable if it's serial sneezing, if you've got hay fever or something and it's just constant. But the odd sneeze here and there, I consider to be one of life's pleasures.
It is nice. Yeah. And you can't do it with your eyes open, can you?
No, that's right. You can't. No.
Anyway, should we go on to this before we go on more with this inane chat? The subject matter, personal space.
Yeah. Okay.
So I did a bit of research on this. It's also referred to as proxemics. So you go from
i.e. the proximity you are to someone else. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. It's the amount of distance that people are comfortable putting between themselves and others.
Proxemics. Interesting. Yeah.
I hadn't heard of it, but the theory of proxemics was developed by anthropologist Edward T. Hall in the late 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah, he served he served in the US Army, and he observed the distance people maintained with each other. And he found that different cultures perceive personal space differently as well. Apparently, the British need a lot of space. While the Middle Eastern Arabs and certain continentals, they're comfortable with much closer spaces. But he looked at different coffee shops around the world, which he found interesting.
Oh, okay.
And see how people behaved. And he watched a lot of people, and he said that most cultures are quite happy to, they sit reasonably close to each other. They touch each other on the shoulder or the hand or whatever. You go to a British cafe, none. No one ever does that. No one ever.
Everybody wants
each other.
to. I mean, if you go into a coffee shop in Britain, you want to have a table to yourself, don't you?
You do if you're on your own. If you go with some. Yeah.
Well, even if you're with someone sometimes.
Yeah. Well, true. I remember going into a cafe once and it was one that we used to meet in before the Wednesday meeting sometimes.
Yeah.
It was a different day, but I remember going upstairs and there was no spaces.
Yeah.
Except there was one space on a table.
Yeah.
There was a table of 4 and there was three spaces were taken up. And then they called me over and said, come and sit here. And that was initially very awkward.
Well, hang on though. So you accepted the invitation. You sat down.
I did.
I mean, they were obviously quite welcoming because they said, "Come and sit here." Did they then speak to you?
They did. It was a mum and 2 children.
Oh well, I expect you. You see, going back to the conversation we were having last week, I imagine you were probably fine in that situation.
Yeah. I was initially. I thought this is a bit. I was looking for. I much preferred a space on my own, but going into that situation, we ended up having a good chat.
Well, I think about myself in that situation. If that had been 3 adults sitting at the table, that would have been appalling for me.
Yeah.
But actually, a mother and 2 children, I'd be okay with that because I'd be able to chat to the kids.
Well, you can't you? They're a great distraction, and you can.
I find it much easier to talk to children probably than I would do adults in that situation. Yeah.
But it's an it reminded me of it when I was putting these notes together. But when looking at personal space, it varies from person to person. On average, most people prefer around about 18 inches. Apparently. Now, I mean, I think we all know people that
1.5 foot, is that?
Yeah, 1.5 foot. We're all right.
Okay.
But I'll come on to the difference because there's different areas I want to look at here. But I think we all know people that habitually will stand too close, don't we?
Yeah.
And it's always awkward, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It really is. And you sort of find yourself slightly backing away and then they sort of slightly follow you.
They do, yeah. You end up shifting on the street, don't you?
I mean, I certainly have met people like that in my life, and I can think of occasions where that's happened, but I'd say it's quite rare.
It is quite rare, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, the research was telling me that personal space is considered a subsection of non-verbal communication and interpersonal behaviour.
Well, it's a boundary, isn't it? It's a boundary.
It is, and it's one of the hardest topics to study because of the range of factors that determine how much personal space an individual needs. And I think when I texted you to say this is what we'll be discussing, you said you need a lot of personal space. It might have just been a throwaway comment, but
no, I do. I mean, what I meant when I said that was, I think my sort of need for personal space is more related to how I feel about being alone.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But if I'm with people, I think I probably have quite standard needs. I don't want someone standing too close to me, but I wouldn't be like your peer from groups in the past who needed to essentially sit in another room and talk through the hatch.
It wasn't quite that bad, but he would sit if it was all sitting around a table, he'd drag a chair away from the table and sit closer to the wall.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that is interesting.
Or away.
I don't know whether this is. I don't know whether this is related to personal space, but I would certainly, if I go to the same place frequently, I want to sit in the same place.
Yeah. It's really strange how that.
Yeah.
Some
people will kick against that deliberately, but I would always gravitate towards the same position.
If you run groups and the same people are coming back regularly, they nearly always go to that same position. They'll go next to the people they always do. And it rarely changes until someone else comes into the group that's new and upsets the dynamic slightly. But again, that settles down. But there's 4 categories that when the study of proxemics is involved, which is the different distances that people need to keep apart, and it depends upon a range of factors. The first one we've already touched on, the intimate space for our closest relationships, about 0 to 18 inches.
Right, so we're understandably happy to be closer to people that we know well.
That's it. You're in relationship with, or your kids. You're hugging them, aren't you? Basically, and you're in constant contact with them. Yeah, that's the first one. The second one is the personal space for family and friends that are outside those people you're actually having a relationship with. So it's only been anywhere between 18 inches and 4 feet. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'm going to come on to each of these and just explore them in a little bit more. But just these categories. The next one, the social space for casual and professional relationships, is between 4 and 10 feet. Yeah,
10 feet feels like quite a long way away.
It is quite a lot.
If you're having a conversation with someone who's a professional colleague.
Well, they're talking about really in that things like perhaps teachers at the class, professors. Yeah. Right. There's a reasonable distance where you can converse, but there's a professional boundary there. Mm-hmm. And then the public space for strangers is over 10 feet, apparently.
Well, so if you're in a park?
If you're in a park, you don't want to get closer than 10 feet to someone. You know how tricky I mean, you've only got to watch people set up their towels on the beach. Yeah,
that's the one, isn't it? You're trying to find a big space.
Yeah.
And then when you think about it, the distance that you're trying to establish from other people is sort of, in some respects, quite laughable.
It is really, but you look at the old pictures from the 30s.
Yeah.
When train travel first came into operation widely, and a lot of people would go to the beach, wouldn't they, for their holidays in the UK, and the beaches were crammed, and the deck chairs were virtually next to each other, which probably was a little bit uncomfortable. But now you go to the beach and it's much more spread out, isn't it?
Well, yeah, as long as you don't go to too busy a beach.
As
long as you don't go to a beach that's busy.
Yes.
Perhaps that's, it's part of the reason why, people will perhaps seek out quieter spaces, isn't it? Because they want that kind of separateness from strangers.
It is. And there was an additional proxemic category that came in during COVID as well. We had there was a certain distance you had to stay away from people, wasn't there? Which tended to be the same for public spaces for strangers. But the I think they set 6 feet, didn't they say, when you were walking around the supermarket or something?
Yeah, I didn't really do much walking around the supermarket during lockdown. But I'll tell you what I did notice about personal space during lockdown, and that is that when you were walking up the road, if someone was walking towards you, they would cross the road.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew why they were crossing the road, but actually I found that quite affecting. This sort of, sometimes it'd be people that I saw every day because they were walking their dogs and I walked my dog. But this kind of necessity to step deliberately away from someone else. It's almost like the antithesis of what we're talking about. There is a point at which someone's decisive act towards separateness can be quite isolating in a way.
Yeah, it can. Yeah. And we certainly learned that during COVID, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was because I remember I used to see the same people out on my daily 1 hour walk when that was in. And I used to say, and I remember a guy he used to see me from a distance, and he'd almost cower in the bushes, covering his face and looking really scared if I walked quite close.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was really panicky, really paranoid.
Mind you, most people do that with you, even in non-COVID times.
Well, it happens all the time now. Yeah, I'd have got to walk into a cafe. So just looking at those categories then, just to pin it down a little bit more.
Yeah.
That intimate space, that first one, between 0 and 18 inches. So 0 inches is obviously very close, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that tends to be reserved for our romantic partners, family members, and closest friends are allowed within the space of 0 to 18 inches.
Yeah.
Familiar touch is part of this proximity. The space is close enough to whisper in each other's ears. Yeah, that's quite close, isn't it? and smell each other's person's scent. Now that's almost nuzzling into the neck of someone, isn't it?
Yeah. You certainly want to be on pretty good terms with someone.
You do.
Getting that close.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. We know we become extremely uncomfortable when this space is breached by people outside a very inner
I'd certainly
circle.
be very uncomfortable if a stranger nuzzled my neck.
It's not a great idea, is it? You would think there's something up.
I go around nuzzling people's necks if you don't know them. I think that's probably one of the takeaways from this week's episode, isn't it?
I think it's a lesson we can all learn. the police will get involved, won't they? So the next category, the slightly larger one, the personal space, generally called the personal space bubble. So this is between 18 inches and 4 feet. So if you're walking along the road next to each other, I mean, that's reasonable.
That's where we'd have most of our relationships.
We do.
We keep people in that sort of realm. Yeah.
Yeah, we're close, but not that close. And you can sort of reach over and pat each other on the back.
I wonder what you're going to say then.
Or on the butt. I suppose you could do that. But again, you'd probably be in that closer space.
I can't think of any casual sort of relationships I have where I'd want to be, patting someone else on their posterior.
No, but I thought that's where you were going with your thought process.
It was where I was going with my thought process.
So the next category up is social space.
Yeah.
Casual acquaintances and most professional interactions remain within the 4 to 10 feet boundary.
Yeah.
You can't touch each other at that distance, and it's a safe gap to conduct most formal exchanges.
I reckon in my clinic, I think the space between me and my client is probably about 8 feet. Yeah.
Yeah. That's about right then, isn't it? Going back to
so.
That's a great illustration.
Yeah, I mean, it would be very uncomfortable, I think, for everyone concerned if I was like a foot away.
Yeah. Yeah, it's strange. I remember going to see back in the corporate days when the clients I used to go and see, he never used to like to have a desk between us. Right. So if he came to my office, I went to his, he'd sit down and say, can we sit out? He saw it as a sort of a barrier.
Well, it is a barrier, isn't it? It's a little barrier. But it's interesting because I'm thinking about when I was training, one of the pieces of advice we had was, never set your chairs up in a counselling space facing one another. They should be at an angle because it's kind of less confrontational.
Yeah.
I've always had my chairs facing each other, and I think it's all right because if you've got enough space between two chairs, then there's enough opportunity for you to kind of move your gaze in different directions. I think the problem would be if you were facing one another and there was nowhere else to look. That would be pretty bad. But
it would be pretty bad, wouldn't it? That wouldn't be good. I mean, eye contact is a big thing there because the last category, the public space where strangers, and we talk that it's over 10 feet, which I suppose it is just walking around or in shopping centres. You know what I mean, or airports, or just walking along the pavement. This type of space doesn't require
farmers markets.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing. But it doesn't require eye contact or any personal contact whatsoever.
Yeah.
You're going about your business, with no interaction.
Yes, you're alone in the presence of other people.
You are.
Yeah.
Do you find? It's just something that sprung to mind there. Do you find it strange if someone does catch your eye and they smile? How do you feel?
I'd be fine with that. I don't think it happens very often.
No, but sometimes it does, and I often think, is there an agenda?
I don't really think that. I mean, if I walk past someone, I will quite often smile and say good morning or good afternoon or whatever. So I don't think that would make me question what was going on there at all. What, do you think you're being hit upon?
Well, no. Well, you potentially, but it's no, because I think that's almost arrogant to think that. But I think
it's not really. It's just an expression of what happens in your mind. Perhaps there's I don't know. There's all manner of reasons why that might be the case, isn't there?
Yeah, because I smile at people and I think, perhaps I'm making them feel uncomfortable if I do that. So I'm get a bit more careful.
Yeah, I don't think that. I mean, another example of being conscious of personal space.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if I walked past, if we were going separate directions and I walked past a woman,
yeah,
I would still smile and say good morning or whatever it would be. But if I find myself walking behind a woman, I will always cross the road.
Yeah.
Because it always feels to me as if whatever the space is between me and her, that is quite possible that would feel threatening.
Yeah, I agree.
Whereas if I'm on the other side of the road and I kind of walk faster and I'm ahead, then, so I think that is an example of being, I mean, it might not make any difference to whoever it was I was walking behind, but I suppose it's an example of my consciousness of personal space.
Well, absolutely right. And I always do the same because I think it can be. But if you're walking along and someone is walking at almost the same speed as you, or slightly slow, and you're never quite sure whether to overtake them or hang back. And when you do overtake, you put on a bit of a spurt, don't you? To create personal space.
It's interesting that you have that issue because I would have thought, because you're tall like me, and I always think if I'm stuck in that position, I will always go past because I think I'll definitely be able to walk faster than you. Yeah. So I'll just get past you. I can't, particularly if I've got the dog, because the dog won't walk behind someone. The dog will want to get ahead of them.
Yeah.
So that's it. We'll just go.
But what I think it's an illustration of, so either hanging back or going by, because you're going to be encroaching into that stranger's space.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
You see what I mean? So we need to we need to get that back as soon as possible. So if you do walk past them, you do put on a spurt.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to have your space encroached upon from behind, do you?
No, you don't. You don't.
I definitely don't want that under any circumstances.
But it's quite interesting how, again, when I used to live over in Headcorn in the village, if you walk along the road, even if people you didn't know, you'd always say good morning or hello to them.
Yeah.
If you walk through Maidstone or walk through a bigger city, that doesn't happen, does it? Bigger town, you'd
never stop saying hello, would you?
And you go to London, you barely look at each other, do you? You certainly don't look at each other on the underground.
One of the things I like about London is that it's okay to look at people because they probably won't be looking at you.
Yeah.
I quite like that. See, I quite like the people watching stuff. But because there are so many people and there are all sorts of things going through their heads and the last thing they're thinking about is me.
Yeah.
Big cities are quite good places to feel anonymous, and I like that.
They are, yeah, very much. But they say it's a completely different vibe to a small village, isn't it?
Very much, yeah.
But so those are the categories. I just wanted to go on to why this guy who sat on his own, what his explanations were.
Okay.
First of all, he told me he didn't like going to the fellowships. So he didn't like going to AA or CA or NA or whatever, because they're very huggy, and they are. And when you go to these meetings, there's a lot of hugging going on. And some people are okay with that, and some people aren't. And then some people feel if they don't get hugged, they feel a little bit rejected. So it can be a sort of a weird dynamic.
Yeah, I have some sympathy with that. There's a part of the Anglican communion service that used to take place when I used to go with my mum to church when she was alive. And I can't remember at what part of the service is, but the vicar will say, "Peace be with you," and the congregation respond with, "And also with you." And then he says, "Let us exchange the sign of peace." And the idea is that you have to turn to the people around you, shake their hands, and say, "Peace be with you." And then your response is also with you. And I used to hate that bit. I didn't want to I don't want to do that. It's like, I'm okay doing it with my mum.
Yeah.
I don't want to be shaking hands and saying, "Peace be with you" to complete strangers. I expect God had me down as a bit of a heathen at that point. I expect there'll be a reckoning on the day of my demise.
When you're standing in front of him, he said, "You were a bit standoffish, son."
He will, yeah.
on that down there, Scott.
I'll explain. I'll try and explain to him that it just felt really terribly awkward to me. I just don't like that. That's because I don't want any forced contact. I don't like it.
No. And that's what this guy was explaining. And he also explained that COVID and Zoom meetings for addiction issues, he loved them. He said he said it took off. His recovery took off when COVID came along. He loved it.
He sounds as if he's got social anxiety.
Totally suited him, yeah. But he was able to deal with all his issues, and I've seen him since. And he's although he still does sit apart from people. He hasn't been drinking for an awful long time. So
very good.
It worked out for him. One of the reasons also he didn't like sitting next to people was he didn't like
stink.
Hey,
they stink.
Well, there was that. Yeah, it's exactly that. It's the smell of alcohol.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it?
It makes absolute sense. He said, again, when you go to an AA meeting, the only criteria is that you've got a wish to stop drinking. You don't have to have stopped. And so he'd go to AA meetings. Sometimes he'd sit next to people and that absolutely reeked. And he said it was really horrible smell. Initially, it could be a little bit triggering, but then it became sort of repugnant. And so he used to feel at ease.
Whether you're in recovery or not, some people have significant sensory processing issues, which would include the inability to cope with certain smells.
Yeah,
that could also be the case, couldn't it? So if you smell strongly of alcohol or, I don't know, cigarettes or whatever, then that can be a real, oh, no, I can't be near you.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the case because you could understand the alcohol because somebody was trying to give up and there's a reminder. But he said he used to get the same if people smelt strongly of garlic.
There you go.
Because he said it almost used to make him heave and also reminded him of the times where every morning when he used to wake up, he would just be sick, which you do when you're an alcoholic. You're sick before you start the day. And it used to remind him of that. But when people, he said that people used to accuse him of being antisocial. And he said he used this sort of empty bus or the empty train illustration. He said if you go onto a bus and there's one person, there's only one person on the bus. If you went and get sat next to that person, both of you would feel terribly uncomfortable, wouldn't you? So he'd sit further away because it felt more comfortable for him and it felt more comfortable for the person on the bus. And he said that's the way he feels when he goes into meetings.
I mean, the fact that other people would judge him and say that he's being antisocial is an assumption based on his behaviour, but it doesn't necessarily have to be anything to do with being antisocial.
No, it isn't.
Just because someone wants to sit apart.
Yeah, no, and that's what he was explaining.
I can remember going to see a film once in a cinema in London. It was a Woody Allen film, and it was the only place we could find it on. And we went, and it was a Sunday evening, and the cinema was empty. Literally empty. So we chose where we wanted to sit. We sat down and then another couple came in and they sat in front of us.
That's really annoying, isn't it?
I mean, why would you do that? It's mental, isn't it?
It is mental. It's a bit like in us chaps when we go into the public toilets.
Yeah.
You choose the urinal that's furthest away from anyone else that's in there, don't you? And it's just, again, that personal space is made more relevant, I suppose, because you're getting the old fella out, and you don't want people looking at that, do you? Do you know what I mean? But I think
the worst thing is if you go into a public toilet and there's only one space.
Yeah.
So there's a whole row of urinals, and you've got to go in that space. That happened to me once at the World Marbles Championships.
Did it?
Yeah, we'd been drinking heavily on the minibus all the way there, and I thought I really need a wee. And I went in and there was only one space left and it just freaked me out. I couldn't go. You know what it's like? You can't go then.
You can get anxiety.
So you're standing there for ages and then you think, well, people are definitely looking at me now because I'm just standing. The urinal's not going. I must be looking at their knobs.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that.
and just having that thought makes it even more impossible to have a wee.
Yeah. There's a lot of anxiety around urinals. People don't realise.
That was a traumatic experience, that was.
You see people see like a sigh of relief. If someone comes in, there is only one space. They realise then they can go in one of the cubicles and they'll go in there.
Yeah.
And they've probably all done that. But a lot of people go in there just to vape these days as well.
Do they?
Yeah. So they'll choose the cubicle rather than your arm so they can have a vape. Because you can suddenly see the smell of peach coming across or something like that.
or lamb and mint sauce.
Yeah, exactly that. Which was an early experimentation into the world of vaping, which
I'll never forget that. I just the very thought of it just sounded so appalling.
It was appalling. It was appalling. So that was that. Although the guy also said when we was talking, I did have quite a chat with him about it all, and he was saying that he's naturally, he doesn't like going where, and you probably relate to this, places he hates going, places like London where crowds, he said, they used to make him want to use or make him want to drink. If he was in a crowd, he'd find that tricky. And he said,
they don't make me want to drink, crowd.
No, but to him, no, you wouldn't relate to that part, but the crowd, you're not keen on.
No, I have a problem. I have a problem with crowds. I don't mind being lost in a crowd. I don't like to be sort of hemmed in. I don't like that at all. So, like if I was at a festival, certainly these days, I definitely wouldn't want to be, right in the mix. It's like I don't. I feel stuck and hemmed in, and I don't like it. But I'm okay in crowded places as long as I can be, unseen, if you like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So you don't like to be, you don't want to be dragged into the mosh pit.
I don't want to be in the mosh pit. No.
You're happy just wandering around a place in London which is fairly busy.
I do. I mean, it's like when we went to see the National at the Ali Pali.
Oh,
That's fine because the venue's big enough that you've got a little bit of, it's not a lot of personal space around you because it's busy, but you can move about. That's what I want. I like that. So it's like if I go to the theatre, don't put me in the middle of a row.
No.
I'm not having that.
No.
I want to be on the end near the, so I can make a quick getaway.
Yeah, and you can stretch your legs out a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was that really. And he did explain that also that how he liked, because we used to, again during COVID, we used to have meetings outside because you couldn't go indoors, and he used to like those. He said because there's plenty of space. He loved being out in nature anyway. It made him calm. Yeah. And if we were sitting under a tree, having a meeting or whatever, you could space yourself out as far as you wanted to, and you used to like that.
I'm totally on board with that one. Yeah. I think on balance, I prefer to be outside than I would to be inside as much as I can be. Yeah.
So that's about it really. And I was looking for some quotes, but I couldn't really find any on personal space particularly. But the one that I quite liked, which you would probably relate to, is there's no such thing as personal space when you own a dog.
No, that's true enough.
Because they will invade straight away. There's no messing, is there, with dogs?
No.
It just reminded me of one of your early dogs. First dog's probably Toby.
Oh, yeah, Toby used to jump into your nuts, didn't he?
Every time. Because he was quite a large dog, wasn't he? And his head was level with my Chad's. And I think you deliberately trained him. When you open the door, he used to go bang straight. He used to fell me every time.
Yeah, that's right. They don't really respect personal space, dogs, but then I'm quite happy with that. I'm probably happier being close to my dogs than I am pretty much anyone else.
To other humans. Yeah, no. I think a lot of people feel that way, don't they?
Yeah, there might not be any quotes we can leave with, but we can leave with the the bit of wisdom that we hit upon, which is if you're going to invade someone's personal space, don't do it from behind.
Yes, exactly right. Exactly right. I think that's a good way of bookending this particular episode. Or certainly on the subject matter, because it's time to go on to the conundrum feature.
Oh, sugar! I've forgotten.
You always get to this point and forget, don't you?
Yeah, I know it's bad, isn't it?
You don't have a running order in front of you, do you? Like I do.
I don't have a running order, but this is about space. I mean, not outer space.
No.
Is it ever okay to drive past the queuing cars in a contraflow and then push in, claiming that you're keeping the traffic moving?
No.
And so people start queuing long before the second lane is closed, don't they?
Yeah, I do.
But then you see people going up the other lane, the empty lane,
trying to push
right
in
to the end and then pushing in right at the end.
Yeah.
And their argument for that would be, well, if more of us use both lanes all the time we could, the traffic would keep moving.
I don't see that as an argument at all. It's just pushing in.
Yeah. I think it's pushing as well. But I certainly know people who don't see it like that. Say, look, that lane's empty. Just drive up it. If you lot are queuing when there's two lanes, then you're the idiots.
No, because you're all 40, because you've all got to get into one at some point anyway. It's just taking your turn. It's just a queuing system. People jump in queues. I see it as that. People being impatient that their journey is more important than yours. And that's it. No.
So they're taking advantage of your personal space, really.
They are really. They're jumping in. So, no, I never. In fact, it makes me quite angry when I see people do it.
Okay, good. Yeah. Well, I was wondering what your opinion would be on that. So we see that absolutely similarly. Yeah. I mean, I have to follow rules. If there is a rule, I've got to follow it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of them. It's like as soon as I see a contraflow sign and people are queuing, I'm like, oh, I'm at the end of this queue. Then this is where I've got to stay. I just feel embarrassed. I'd feel embarrassed doing anything else. And I know some people would say, well, you're never going to see those people again. What does it matter? That doesn't chime with me at all.
It doesn't. It's social etiquette. Those people pushing in makes the people that are queuing up slower getting through the boarding works or whatever, the road works. So no, it slows it down. I can't see. Would it be fair for it?
Okay. All right. Well, it's good to know where you stand on that. We can move on. I think
we can. We can move on to our gratitude list.
Okay. Is it me or you?
I think you went first last week.
All right. Off you go then.
I think so. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. But I was very grateful, really, for having an old school friend reach out to me recently.
Oh.
We were at primary school together, so it's a very long-standing friend. Even though we did meet up about 20 odd years ago, we did have a time when we did spend a little bit of time together, but it was a long time ago, and it was nice for him to reach out. He just wanted some advice in this particular area we're talking about.
I thought you were going to tell me that you owed him money.
That wouldn't be I wouldn't be quite so grateful for that. But I think it's quite nice.
That is nice. Yeah.
I won't mention the name because I haven't got his permission to do so. But it was nice, and it's nice to be able to help in those situations. So I was grateful for that.
That's very nice.
It's a good illustration of. We always advise people when they're feeling they need to talk to someone. Make sure you reach out. Make sure you ring someone, because
even if you're reaching back 50 odd years.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, so I'm grateful for camera lens adapters.
Okay. All right, I think I know what they are, but you'll have to explain that a little bit more.
Well, I bought a new camera last year, a digital camera, because much as I like taking analog photos, the cost of processing films constantly gets a bit high.
Yeah.
I thought, I'll have a digital camera as well. And I didn't realise it at the time, but it's possible to buy a lens adapter so that I can use my old vintage lenses, the lenses that I use on my old vintage camera, on my smart, up-to-date digital camera.
Oh, right. I didn't know.
Which is fantastic. And, of course, the other benefit is it means you don't have to buy loads of new lenses, which cost a phenomenal amount of money.
They're crazy money, aren't they? Some of them, yeah.
So I feel quite grateful for that this week. I've been taking lots of pictures with me old digital lenses, and it's been joyful.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I didn't realise such an adapter existed, so I've learnt something.
There we are. So if you want an adapter for your digital camera to use your vintage lenses, you can.
They're available.
Yeah.
Okay, good work. On This Day in Music, but which year?
Yeah.
In which year was In the Summertime by Mungo Jerry?
In the summertime, that one.
Yeah, it's number one in the UK.
Right, this has got to be early 70s. I'm going 72.
Oh, 1970.
Shit.
Yeah, it's just out. We're very close.
And wow, 1970, was it really?
I know, yeah. I thought that's just edged out of the 60s, isn't it? I thought it was a bit later, I must admit.
I remember that really vividly, so I would have been very young then. Anyway, okay.
It did, because it had that line in it, didn't it? Have a drink, have a drive. Go out and see what you can find. Which
do you reckon Mungo Jerry was responsible for your addiction problem?
He was. He validated my behaviour.
You always remembered it, didn't you?
I did. If Mungo can do it, I'm going to have a crack at that.
Mary, Mungo and Midge.
Which year was Tony Hadley from Spandau Ballet born?
Gold.
It's 2nd of June, so we have just missed his birthday, but 2nd of June he was born. But do you know which year?
Interesting. I reckon he must be similar age to me, I'd have thought. I'm going to say he's a bit younger? I'm going to say he was 66.
1960, so he's a bit older.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah. So he's 64 years old.
So Tony Hadley makes me look like a spring chicken.
He does, yeah. He was threading the boards while you were still eating your Farley's rusks. Yeah,
I don't think I ever had Farley's rusks.
Now, this is an old one, this one. Do you know which year? This is the oldest person going into our dead group.
Right. Who is it? Beethoven?
Not quite that old. Well, I could go to classical composers next. That would really
I'll tell you what, I'd be in real trouble then.
Vera Lynn.
Vera Lynn.
She was 103 when she died.
There'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover.
So she'll be joining the...
She was 103 when she died. So what am I trying to tell you? What year she died? She died.
Yeah.
Vera Lynn.
Do you remember?
I do remember Vera Lynn dying, but I can't remember when it was. But she was 103.
She was 103 at the time, yeah.
I'm going to say 2017.
2020. So
really, absolutely, it was a washout this week, wasn't it?
Well, you got 0, but it's they were quite close. So
that's brought me down now.
There's no shame attached to your answers.
Oh, I feel ashamed.
You want a bit of personal space.
I need a bit of personal space now,
just to process it all.
That's right. I just need to be alone for a while. All right. All right.
Good. Well, that's a wrap.
Right. Good. Well, have an enjoyable rest of your Sunday.
I will, mate. Yes, and you.
All right then. Laters.
Bye.
Bye. Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work or sort through the extensive archive of past episodes, just visit grahamlandy-wellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Sideways Podcast, and you can email us if you have a question or if there's something you'd like us to cover. But most of all, we want to tell you how grateful we are that you come and listen, and we ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week.